Hello! It is me, Stuffs You Missed. Again, tonight, we journey to the eastern reaches of Indonesia, to a place where ancient beliefs still breathe quietly through oral tradition. Far from the urban centers where folklore is reshaped into cinema and spectacle, we are venturing into a mystery that originates from this remote world, a story whispered on the night air. It is a tale of a spirit named Tokata. Unlike the dramatic and often terrifying apparitions of more widely known figures like the Kuntilanak or the Pocong, Tokata is a presence defined by its elusive. It is a spirit rarely seen, for its power lies not in form, but in sound heard rather than witnessed, felt rather than confronted. This enigmatic figure is deeply rooted in the culture of the Tobelo people who inhabit Halmahera Island in the North Maluku province of Indonesia. In a world where many myths are documented, visualized, and commercialized, the lore of Tokata has been carefully preserved through the spoken word passed from one generation to the next. Its nature is rarely captured in written texts or artistic renderings, maintaining a mystique that thrives in the auditory imagination of those who know its name. Tokata is a ghost story told not with a jump scare, but with a chilling whisper that warns of the unseen dangers lurking just beyond the edge of perception. To understand Tokata, one must first delve into the Tobelo worldview, particularly their traditional beliefs surrounding life, death, and the afterlife. In this belief system, death is not an instantaneous transition into a revered ancestral state. The soul of the deceased must undergo a complex and proper spiritual transformation to become a benevolent ancestral spirit, a protector of the living. This journey, however, is fraught with peril. When the transformation is disrupted or remains incomplete, perhaps due to a violent or sudden death, improper burial rituals, lingering emotional attachments, or social unrest, the spirit can become trapped. It is within this liminal space, a precarious state between the world of the living and the realm of the ancestors, that Tokata exists. It is classified as a malevolent spirit of the dead, not because it is inherently evil, but because its unstable condition makes it dangerous to the living. The name itself offers a profound clue to its nature. In many Eastern Indonesian languages, the prefix O is used as a personal or calling marker, a way to address or refer to a specific entity. The word Tokata translates to calling, whispering, or summoning. Therefore, the name Tokata can be interpreted as the one who calls, or, more poetically, the whispering presence. This name perfectly encapsulates its primary method of interaction. It does not manifest to frighten with its appearance, but rather to lure with its voice. Its danger is subtle, an auditory illusion that preys on the most human of instincts, a simple, reflexive act of responding to one's own name. True to its name, Tokata is rarely perceived visually. Its presence is most often experienced through sound. Survivors of encounters describe hearing their name called clearly in the dead of night, often in a voice that sounds eerily familiar, like that of a friend or family member. Others report soft, unintelligible whispers that seem to emanate from just behind them, or the phantom sound of footsteps following them down an empty path. The feeling is one of being watched, of a presence that is just out of sight, its intentions unknown. On the rare occasions when Tokata is said to have been physically seen, the descriptions are unsettlingly vague. It appears as a tall, shadowy figure with unusually long limbs and a face that is either entirely unclear, distorted, or completely blank. This spectral form almost exclusively appears at night, haunting the liminal spaces of the Tobelo landscape. The deep forests, lonely and unlit roads, the desolate outskirts of villages, burial grounds, and any dark, isolated path where a person might find themselves alone. The Tobelo people traditionally distinguish between two primary types of this spirit, each tied to a specific domain and carrying its own unique threat. The first is Tokata o Honganino, or the forest spirit. This entity is believed to originate from the deep, untamed forests that surround the villages. Its influence is primarily psychological, manifesting as it invades a person's subconscious. Those targeted by Tokata o Honganino report suffering from intense nightmares, a pervasive sense of dread, and a lingering bad mood that they cannot shake. A peculiar and symbolic effect of this spirit is the weakening of a person's legs, rendering them unsteady and vulnerable, a physical manifestation of their spiritual unease. To protect against this forest-dwelling caller, a specific taboo is observed. One must sleep with their head positioned inland, away from the direction of the forest. The second type is Tokata o Tanakino, the ground spirit. This version emerges from the earth itself, often near burial sites or places where a death has occurred. It preys on night travelers and those who walk alone, its primary effect being one of profound disorientation and exhaustion. Victims feel an overwhelming weariness and lose their sense of direction, becoming lost even in familiar territory. The danger of Tokata does not lie in direct physical assault. It is a predator of a different kind, using psychological manipulation as its weapon. By mimicking the voices of loved ones, it lures its victims away from safety, deeper into the forest or off a familiar path. The goal is to isolate and confuse. This act of luring can cause a person to get hopelessly lost, induce a state of rising panic, and even result in significant memory gaps where the victim has no recollection of how they wandered so far from their route. It is the victim's own fear that becomes the spirit's greatest ally. As fear and panic intensify, the person becomes spiritually weaker and more susceptible to the spirit's malevolent influence, creating a terrifying feedback loop of disorientation and dread. In response to this ever-present threat, the Tobelo culture has developed a strict set of rules and taboos designed to protect individuals from the whispers in the dark. The most critical rule is to never answer if you hear your name called at night, especially when you are alone. Similarly, one must never turn around when hearing soft whispers from behind or follow a familiar-sounding voice into the forest. The prescribed reaction is to remain silent, continue walking forward, and focus on reaching a place of safety and light. Reciting prayers or personal protective phrases is also a common defense, used to fortify one's spirit against the encroaching influence of the caller. These rules are more than mere superstitions. They are practical safety measures woven into the fabric of folklore. Culturally, Tokata serves as a powerful symbol. It embodies the primal fear of getting lost, the inherent dangers of isolation, and the importance of respecting the unseen boundaries that separate the human world from the spirit realm. It functions as a moral guardian. Its story is used by elders to teach younger generations about safety, humility, and the wisdom of not straying too far from the community. The lore of Tokata is a constant reminder that the greatest dangers are not always the ones you can see, but the ones that know your name. The figure of Tokata has also evolved over time, reflecting the historical traumas of the Tobelo people. After the violent sectarian conflict that swept through North Maluku between 1999 and 2000, which resulted in many unresolved deaths and widespread communal grief, the stories of Tokata became increasingly intertwined with another malevolent figure, the Swangi, a type of sorcerer or witch. This blending of beliefs reflected the collective trauma of the community. As old fears resurfaced under new names to explain the lingering sense of loss and unease, the whispering spirit became a vessel for the anxieties of a society grappling with the ghosts of its recent past. In the modern era, as with many traditional beliefs, Tokata is sometimes viewed through a more secular lens. Skeptics and outsiders might interpret the phenomenon as a psychological fear response to the mind playing tricks in the dark, heightened by the natural acoustics of a forest or the anxiety of being alone. It could be a cultural explanation for panic attacks in darkness, or for accidents and disappearances that occur in isolated areas. Yet, despite these modern interpretations, the belief in Tokata remains deeply ingrained and respected locally. For many Tobelo people, the whispering presence is not a metaphor, but a real and present danger. Its power, rooted in sound rather than appearance, serves as a profound and enduring reminder. Not all dangers chase you. Some only need to call your name. So, the story ends here for now. But believe it or not, I have much more for life. So please don't forget to hit the subscribe tab for keeping along with my journey.